Bulavinaka and welcome to Nations Business, focused on national development, economic growth and empowering of population to attain a sustainable livelihood. This half-hour production also looks at development that has been made more people-centered with the provision of better health care, education, water, electricity and social safety nets to ensure a higher standard of living. On the first episode of 2023, we take a look at Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka's first week in office. No time wasted as he travels to Vanua, Levu, where he commissioned a government project, a village project, and an address to the nation on the path the coalition government plans to take moving forward. All that and more are coming up in the next half hour. On the 14th of December 2022, Fiji went to the polls. Each individual eligible and registered to vote made their intention known by choosing the person or party they saw fit to lead them for the next 4 years. At the end of it all, a coalition emerged between the People's Alliance Party, National Federation Party and the Social Democratic Liberal Party, making up the majority of seats in Parliament and subsequently forming government. At the helm was the former Prime Minister, Sitiveni Rabuka, and leader of the People's Alliance Party, who was eventually sworn in as Prime Minister, making a return after 23 years, referring to the transition as a great and joyful awakening.
Most of us eagerly waited for the final results of the 2022 general elections, as the majority of the nation wanted a change. Although almost 58% of our voters voted for change, no one party gained an outright majority. This required negotiations, which took about a week before my party, the People's Alliance, and our partner, the National Federation Party, reached a historic coalition agreement with the Social Democratic Liberal Party, SODALPA. This gave PA, NFP, SODALPA the margin required to form a government. Politics is the art of the possible. We saw what could be done and worked hard to make it happen.
Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka acknowledged the SODALPA leadership for agreeing to partner in the coalition, referring to the manifestos of the three coalition partners as broadly similar, as the arrangement for government draws on the principle of mutual respect and cooperation.
On Christmas Eve, I was sworn in as the Prime Minister by His Excellency the President, following the vote in the House of Representatives in compliance with Section 93(3) of the Constitution of the Republic of Fiji. I immediately formed a cabinet consistent with our agreement with the NFP and SODALPA. Its members are very able, well qualified, and highly committed to the task of rebuilding Fiji together. With 19 ministers, cabinet is larger than I initially planned. Some of you will be concerned about the cost. I confirm that in addition to the current 20% reduction imposed since March 2020, I am proposing a further cut in the remuneration of all parliamentarians. I consider it necessary to appoint 10 assistant ministers to provide additional ministerial power needed for the enormous job of putting things right in virtually all aspects of our nation's life.
The Honorable Prime Minister has drawn a plan that will be followed to set the course for the Fiji government in the next 4 years.
As your Prime Minister, I will now chair the Pacific Islands Forum. My first priority in that role will be to engage in the diplomacy required. Ladies and gentlemen, my government is now focused on initial strategies that will help set our course for the next 4 years. We wish to be an example of political cooperation that crosses boundaries and creates a strong platform to support the restoration of Fiji's position. In our first 100 days in office, we intend to convene a great citizens' assembly involving Fijians from all walks of life and political persuasions. Its agenda is to add to the manifestos and vision statements of our PA-NFP Sodalpa coalition. We will seek from the delegates their ideas and concepts to complement our plans for building a better, more prosperous and happier nation. We intend to establish specialist reviews in 4 key areas: the Constitution and legal reform, the economy, defense and national security, and a forensic examination of the spending of the Fiji First government. Each review team will include people with expert knowledge. The teams will report to the appropriate cabinet member. Of course, a looming issue is the state of Fiji's public finances. The government debt may now be above $10 billion. That is a huge burden for a small economy like ours. The Minister of Finance will soon be sharing with me and Cabinet the exact nature of the problem. He will examine cash flow issues and structure of debt payment. This will be done in a way that does not impede our development. Our specific tasks include a review of investments in land, especially the large areas administered by the Itoke Land Transport, ITLTB. There is wealth locked in the land that can be generated for the benefit of the owners and the country. A study of various contentious laws to determine whether they should be repealed or amended. An inquiry into the overall financial strength of the Fiji National Provident Fund and the impact of some of the decisions on individual members and pensioners. A study of the new financial arrangement for the operation of the Lautoka and Bar hospitals. Disbursement of foreign aid money, concerns about certain media outlets receiving substantial amounts of public money, apparently in return for favorable, slanted coverage of the last government.
A new public holiday to honor indentured laborers will be legislated by the coalition government, and a public holiday honoring a significant statesman that had been removed will be brought back and reflected on the annual calendar.
Some months ago, I made a pledge to legislate for a Ginwit Day public holiday to honor the settlers from India who began arriving here from 1879. They were starting a new life in an unknown land and stayed to become an integral part of our country. I reconfirm my promise to inaugurate that new national holiday in 2023. For reasons that are unclear, the former government decided to scrap the national holiday, marking the life and achievements of our great chief and statesman, Ratu Selala Skuna. We will reinstate Ratu Skuna Day. The monumental work of this illustrious traditional leader on land reform has had a continuing beneficial effect on the landowners, the economy, the sugar industry, businesses, and investments.
A few days after swearing in, the Honorable Prime Minister Sitiveni Rabuka traveled to Vanua, Levu to commission a government project in Nyarambale. First stop was at the Nambowalu government station where he met civil servants. The focus of the conversation was working together hand in hand for a better future.
I focused on unity, joint efforts, na wata na vitorlinga na daw waroro tu indoro bosa. Where there is unity, God commands His blessings. He commands His blessings when there is unity. It's like a cord, a three-strand cord. The people and the government and our faith. Three strands in a cord that make the rope much stronger. In the Vagavata, basi ka na bibakalo matrito. We came in the Vagavata matintu, maybe totally ang tawo naka. Pero na wala na kaya ko sa kotungan Vanua. Na together can go to Tungana Bay Nian, Tungana Bay Cor. And the way Tavitungana can a Taravagitungana Vivunu and the Tiwulki. The journey never ends. Development never ends. Let us play our part during our generation so that the foundation for the future generations are firmer than when we build on those that were built by the previous generation.
The Prime Minister commissioned a $2.7 million project in Nyarambale built by the previous government, a project he says is significant to the community and one that provides safer access to and out of the village, especially in times of flooding and heavy rain.
Today we have come to open the bridge that links the other side of the stream to this side of the stream. From the various accounts given during the presentation, there have been a few lives lost of those that had tried to cross the bridge, cross the water, cross the stream at the height of floods. We're grateful, therefore, to the previous governments and planners for the vision they had to build a bridge from the other side of the stream to this. When we came here 2 weeks ago, in the final days of the election campaign, we had to forge the stream. We had to drive across the stream. The bridge had virtually been completed, but had not been opened to traffic. Today, we are grateful. We are thankful. We thank God for His mercies. And we thank all those that had participated in the building of the road leading up to the bridge and the construction of the bridge itself.
He adds the previous government, planners and development partners should be acknowledged for their vision and confidence.
We must acknowledge the work of previous leaders and governments, previous planners, and we must thank the World Bank or the development, whatever development bank has given us the money, whether it's Asian Development Bank or the World Bank or our own finances. We thank them for their confidence that what they have contributed to the nation, to the country, will be for the betterment of its people. We thank the United Nations for its vision and the various goals that they have put upon the member nations, member countries, for each to strive for in this millennium. One of them is accessibility to markets for producers and rural producers. One of them is better roads and communication systems. It's not us, it's those that had done the work before us. We've just come to cut the ribbon and celebrate with you the opening of the bridge. Once again, congratulations and thank you for perseverance. Thank you for your confidence in the government of the past and present. We can only pray that God will give us the courage and the strength to be able to do for you what you had voted us into office for.
During his tour to the province of Ndrove in Vanua, Levu, the Prime Minister also paid a visit to his village, going back home as Prime Minister for the second time. The Vanuan elders of Navatu accorded the leader of government a traditional welcome before proceeding to open the village hall, later giving a brief backstory on the construction of the hall of Rabuka Vanua in Drakenuai village.
En el Vena en el Cabo. En sa kilometer ribbon go. En dollar in on the hall. This village community hall was officially opened by the Honorable Sitiveni Rabuka, the Prime Minister of Fiji, on the 3rd of January 2023. Now I We have been here to open this hall. This hall was the building was started on the first Saturday of February this year. We'd been planning on having a hall built. If you look to the other end of the village, you'll see some posts still standing there. They had gone ahead, the government had given its approval to assist with the building of that hall. But they started building before approval was given by the chief. He had appointed the site as a site for the new hall. So that building stopped, and we hadn't used any money from government or from the Vanua, so we thought we'd wait until this site is confirmed. In the meantime, we were using the materials from an old church. The old church built in this village when our forefathers moved from our tribal fortified village in Kornesava after Christianity came to the tribe in December of 1860. My great-grandfather received the Lord and was baptized on the 25th of November, 1860. You will probably realize that that's quite a few years after 1835, when the missionaries first arrived on Lakemba, although some had arrived in Oneata in 1830. Anyway, we were using the materials from the old church. And then we thought we would build this one. Some fundraising efforts were carried out, but nothing really substantial came of it. In February this year, I asked my chief if we could start building. We started, and when he started building, I said, we will have the opening on the 2nd of January next year. That's yesterday. But because yesterday was the first working day of this week, after New Year's Eve and New Year, we decided to delay it one day and have the opening today. You'll probably hear people of Navatu talking about our battle night here, battle night there, M-Paisa sending money in. We have a little group, a band with us. They play in Suva, and people could ring up and send money in by M-Paisa as we collected money for this place. Levu, Vanua, Levu, Matangali, and we just kept going until this building was completed. And as I said today, Mr. Gulab Das is here with us, and he can testify to the fact that before the hall was completed, we had paid for everything we took out of the shop. We took things out on credit, but we paid the following week or 2 weeks later. It's all a cash effort. And I'm very grateful to the chiefs and the people of Lenwai and Navatu. Our church was opened on the 31st of December, 1988. And we built that on our own. Skills and leadership of our own builders. My uncle, the late Mr. Rabuka, was head of building in FIT at the time, and he masterminded. He drew up the plan and was built by Uliswani Ndurwanga, who now lives in Lautoka. My own cousin, my father's sister's son. We have been doing these things. We have received assistance from government. We're grateful for the seawall that was built by the Marama government, using our own material with rocks and labor. But this one has been totally our own effort. And we would like to just encourage those that would like to do this, to start their own project. If government realizes or is able, government will come and complete or work with these communities. And I'm glad that we finished this before I became Prime Minister. Some very interesting stories. When they were looking at the car park, the committee had already earmarked the place for the person who was going to come and open it. And we said during the building that it was going to be opened by the Prime Minister. And when we went into campaign, people were already saying, okay, Tata Siti or Uncle Siti will park his car here, his official car here, and all the others will be here. Already working as if we knew that I was going to be Prime Minister and we will have a government delegation to come and work with us at the opening. But we don't have a government delegation here. We have some friends of the village who are now assistant ministers in government and who, because of their relationship with people in the village, decided to come back. So, very good effort from the people, and we give we praise God for His help in the spirit of friendship and love that we enjoy in the village.
And that was the show for this week. Be sure to join us again next week as we bring you more of government's involvement on national development. Have a productive week, be safe, and take care. Mother.